today's spiritual principle is on transparency. Please join me in prayer. Beloved Father, thank you for all that we receive, all that we have, all that we give, and all that we experience. We experience your love, your embracing energy, the love for each and every one of us, and the love that we have for our fellow brothers and sisters. Thank you for this joining, for this connection. We are blessed, we are thankful, and we are extremely grateful. Amen.
I think I said earlier, my name's Becky R., and I'm going to talk about the spiritual principle of transparency. So in the dictionary, it says transparency is the condition of being transparent. And it seems simple, right? So what does it really mean? Does it mean that if I'm transparent, nobody sees me, like Linda was saying? You know, what was that old show the guy used to go, oh, you can't see me. Click his little fingers and he thought he was invisible, right? So are we transparent, actually? Or is it that we just don't hide things, that we're real, that we're ourselves? So today we're going to offer some new thoughts on transparency. And I'm not talking about taking off masks, but I'm going to spend some time talking about masks. So please, everybody out there, be safe and wear your masks for COVID. That's not what we're talking about here. But when I'm talking about a mask, I'm going to be talking about the personas that we put on, the way we show up with people. Okay. I'm talking about how we show up differently in different situations. Say, for instance, and this used to happen in my younger age, girls' night out, woohoo, you know, put on this little mask of, I'm going to be cool. I'm going to be cool. And I agree to things that I probably shouldn't have agreed to. No, I shouldn't have agreed to, definitely. I laugh at jokes that are really inappropriate. You know, I talk about people, make cracks at people, joke about people, and I get joked about too, but, you know, that's what we do when we're putting on these masks, right? We're not being who we really are underneath. We're just slapping something over, oh, I can be cool and I can hang out with these people. So we're playing along with the crowd, and we're going home knowing that that's not really us, but we were willing to do it. Now, it wasn't just girls' night out, because I know guys that do it too, okay? We do this at work. You know, going to work, you put on your nice clothes and you change yourself into that work person and you slap on the work mask, you know. And it's not, I'm talking about like things where you can't, there's some things you don't want to drag to work, you know, personal stuff, but really being who you are. Even here we are standing in a church, I know people that do it at church. They're not who they really are. You know, my mom, her favorite thing was Sunday morning Christians. You know, there's the Sunday morning Christians. They all get all dressed up. We lived in a Mormon state, but that was her way of saying they're not the way they are when they're at home, but they're going to go to church and pretend like there's something else. Now, it's really ironic coming from our house because of the way our house was. And I know people, and especially I've met some men that when they go to mama's house, they're a completely different person. What is that? You know, all of a sudden they're this loving, sweet person that they're, you know, oh, mama, I do everything, and I'm portraying such a wonderful person, and, you know, these are masks that I'm talking about. So if you're like me, these are self-imposed masks. And when I first learned to do this, as Linda alluded to, I did it to save myself. I was trying to take care of me, and I knew that I had to be a certain way in front of certain people in order to survive, or melt into the walls or the floors or hide. You know, so it was a way to cope and to not be seen and to hide from the pain that was in my life growing up, my dysfunctional family. And if there's one big lesson I've learned from that is that what once saved me from being seen started to begin to burden and give me pain because I needed to grow. Okay? It's like a butterfly transforming from out of that cocoon. They're in the caterpillar's in the cocoon. They can't stay there. It has to grow. So the butterfly has to change. And then when the butterfly's grown, is it going to stay inside the cocoon and, is that the life? It has wings now. It doesn't know it has wings, but it has wings now. So life is growth, and we got to expand or, in some cases, perish. So let's talk about the kind of masks we wear. Now, some of these, like I said, are at work or at church. But how does one outside match the inside? Now, I'm going to date myself really bad here, because when I was a kid, I saw an episode of The Twilight Zone. Y'all remember The Twilight Zone, right? There was this one episode where this elderly man was in a wheelchair, very wealthy man, and his kids come running because it's the end of his lifespan, and they just know they're going to get their money. And they're adult kids, they're not little kids. And they all come in, and he's just like, I know it's the end, and I don't think I'm going to make it through the night, but in order to get all my money, you have to put these masks on. And these masks were really, I don't know if you guys have seen this, these masks were really hideous-looking masks. And he said, if you can keep them on till the 12th strike of the bell on the old wall clock, how the bells always just, then you can have all the money. And they were greedy. They wanted that money. So some of them were his kids, some of them were his kids' spouses, and they put these masks, these hideous masks on, and they wore them until the time that it struck the 12th bell, and he made his little statement, now, I know that I'm going to die, and you all get what you deserve. You can have my money too. And then he dies. And then they start taking off their masks. And the mask that was on their face created their face to look just like it. So they got their way, but they were stuck with this persona because he wanted, in his will, he wanted them to see what they really looked like on the outside because they were greedy. Because, they wear the masks. But this episode has stuck with me all my life because I always thought there's people wear masks. There are people, I had a sense of people's inside and outside didn't match. And I know that comes from a lot of stuff that went on when I was a kid, but it didn't take me long to figure out that was a gift of mine that I could that I could figure that out. So right now it's more like the opposite. It's it's personas, or we're trying not to be transparent, and we want to. This talk is about wanting to find ways to relieve that, to grow, to be the butterfly and start to spread our wings, because the past is back there and we can go past it. So I did my research like I always do, and Psychology Today says that when they're talking about masks, people have a fascination with masks. And I really didn't think about this until recently, because we just passed Halloween. And the kids were like, what are we going to do for Halloween? I'm like, we can't do anything for Halloween. What do you want to do? And they wanted to dress up. And I didn't really connect the dots until I was putting this together, that there is such a fascination. Halloween is actually an ancient Celtic holiday on which people believed that they needed masks to protect themselves from bad spirits that roam the earth on All Hallows Eve. Okay? But the grandkids wanted to put on costumes. And I was just like, well, I'm not going to pay for all these costumes. We're going to sit around. We'll buy you the candy. I'll buy you bags of candy if that's what you're really wanting, What did they do? They painted their faces. So there is a fascination with it. What about masquerade balls? There's a fascination. I know people that will go to masquerade balls. They want to be behind that mask and to be seen differently, right? So we hide physically behind anything from a false smile to dark glasses in the streets and on the buses, the cars. I see this, and like I said, many times I have teenagers at the house. The hood is up, the earbuds are in, the face is in the phone. This is how much you get to see of a teenager. That's it. If I had my hood up, you would see probably this much of my forehead if you're lucky. sometimes their hair is down over the top of it, because they're masking themselves, right? They don't want to be seen as well. So, and sometimes we have emotional masks, and those emotional masks can show up, like, for instance, like insecurity. If we're insecure, some people do name dropping to be insecurity. Oh, well, I know such and such, and, you know, that makes me a big person. You know, like being relative to them makes them brings their status up. And if they're unsure of your power, Psychology Today says you can hide behind the mask of being a bully. If you're afraid that you're weak, you'll be a bully. The person will be more bullyish. That way it makes them like they're something that they're not. So if we don't think the world loves us, we can hide behind the mask of anger. We're mad all the time because nobody loves us and everybody's using us, and you know, that's our life. We can mask ourselves with debt and that we incur by with a lifestyle that we can't afford, but we'll just want to live it big, so we'll go way over in debt so that we can live big and look the part, right? We want to look the part. And we pretend things are fine at work when their job's just about on the line. I've been there, thinking, well, if I make it look like it's all right, it's going to be okay. And we can pretend that things are okay in our marriages, our relationships, anything, when there's distance and there's discomfort going on. The really big one for me right now is the internet, okay? It is really easy on the internet and social media, and I'm not trying to run them down because I think there is a huge place for this in our lives, except for when the perfect person takes one perfect shot and makes it look like that's their life, because it's not. You know, my oldest granddaughter, she's just amazing, and she's beautiful from the inside out, and she will spend, and she even posts it, she'll like, I spend 99% of my day looking like in sweats and something, and 1% looking like this, because she knows she needs to be realistic. She was raised in unity, so she has that realistic part of her. But I think it's funny because living in a house with teenagers, you see this. They're getting the Snapchats and the beautiful people and the beautiful singers and the beautiful rap stars and all this stuff that they idolize, and then they're looking at their lives going, my life is nothing like that. Well, you know what? That person's life isn't like that either. That's just what they're showing you, you know? And Snapchat, Facebook, any one of them, I'm not running down the apps because I do really, like I said before, I do believe all of this has a place. It's just comparing one moment in time to a life that makes a difference. So, and one of the common reasons we wear masks is what the Psychology Today says, the imposter syndrome. We fear the world is going to find us out. This was huge for me when I got into recovery. I mean, I've talked several times about doing my steps, and I was so scared if I told people the things that I had done and the things that I had left undone, the things that I'd been through in my life, that they would abandon me. They would not want to be around me. They would think that I was an awful person. All the things that I was some kind of a monster. And that's a big fear for some people, especially early in recovery. And it says the fear, if we show our true selves, the world will say, oh, it's just you. That's one thing. But just being you is actually the best and the most perfect thing that you could be, right? That's what we're trying to grow towards. That's how our wings are trying to come out, is to being the perfect us that we can be. Like I said, my experiences, I felt that I would be rejected. I would be abandoned. Oh, abandonment was a big one. Until one of my therapists said, you can't be abandoned, you have car keys. And I was just like, what? So Oscar Wilde says, be yourself, everyone else is taken. You know, we need to be ourselves, right? From a spiritual perspective, the psalmist wrote, I praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made, right? Fearfully and wonderfully made. Each one of us is. So why do I need to learn to be transparent, to take off the masks, to say my secrets out loud, right? So because one of the things that big thing for me remembering is that our secrets keep us sick. That's a big one. So psychology today says there are 3 practical reasons that we should shed our masks, and these make so much sense. The first is to live to our potential. We have to bring all of who we are to what we do. Others might have the same skill sets as you, but none of these people bring the same personality, creativity, and spirit to the job that you do, right? Living to your potential must mean that we become transparent. And this is, as Linda said in the Principles in Action, the more transparent I become in my recovery, the more I live to my potential. So the irony is often as we mask this part of ourselves at work we lose our greatest potential. So when like I was saying earlier, when we are at work and we're trying to hide ourselves and we don't want to stand out and we don't want to speak out about some kind of an idea we have, not only are we holding ourselves back, but we could be giving a great gift to those in the room with us, right? We could be doing that. The second reason is relief. It is exhausting living in an inauthentic life. How many masks do we need to carry, right? You can put on 2, you can put on 10, you can take off 3, you can put off 6 more. It is exhausting carrying all these masks around. It is exhausting trying to remember who you said to what and where you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to look like for this set of people, you know? Worst of all, you start forgetting who you really are. And that's an incredible loss to the world when someone forgets who they are. The third reason is healing. When we wear our masks, we carve a piece of ourselves out without withholding parts of ourselves as unworthy. Oh, that word hurts, right? But in relationship, we can't be truly healed unless we offer up all of our pieces. Okay? We aren't born with masks either, guess that. We aren't born with these things. We learn to put them on. We put them on and take them off for many different reasons. But we learn that that's the way to get what we think we want, but we don't really know. So here's a way to start thinking. Start with this simple exercises. Think about a negative message that you held, and then ask yourself whether or not it's true. So I would say that I would be abandoned, you know. Would I be abandoned? No. Likely the answer would be no, right? Then if not, then ask, then why am I carrying this message and why am I wearing this mask? If it's not going to lose anything, then what is the importance of carrying all this extra weight and all this other, you know, and hiding behind it? Because if I put it down, what would happen if I just set it down? Nothing, probably, right? So the main risk we face in this is the world's reaction. Opening ourselves up can threaten others, right? And we don't want to be a threat. Often it invites people to reevaluate their lives. Like I said, if you give this gift, we never know. I mean, I've been in conversations with some of this worship team. I'm just like, hey, what about that? And then, I mean, it just starts to run. You know, it's the synergy of it. Being who we are and being able to share it with others in an authentic way. So many times it forces people to realize that they have to change too. That's negative energy. If they don't want to change, they don't have to. But it may give them that little kick to think there might be something, I might be able to take off my mask. So here's a quick way to see physically what I'm talking about, okay? The COVID stuff, and I really try to stay off of this as much as I can, but how many of us are wearing masks and gloves a lot, right? So what happens when we wear these gloves and these masks for too long? Okay, we're learning this in a huge way right now. The gloves restrict airflow, the masks do too, but I mean rashes, inflammation of the skin, the sweat buildup, I mean they're irritating. My grandchildren have A rashes going around their faces from having to wear them to school. All of this is festering underneath the skin. So, as the poet E.E. Cummings wrote, the greatest battle we face as human beings is the battle to protect our true selves from the self the world wants us to become. Think about the masks you wear and commit to taking them off. Hold your gifts out to the world, no apology, no shame, no regrets. And as the old saying goes, every creature has its rightful place, and in that place it becomes beautiful. So we become attached to the masks, the false self, because we think it gets us what we want, like I said earlier, and we convince ourselves that it is who we are. But we're not concealing our truth, really. It's just like the gloves and the mask. The irritation's going to start. Something's going to fester. And like the wings of the butterfly, something needs to grow and come out. In these personality masks, we can actually disassociate from who we are, and we can believe the mask. I personally have had this experience, and I'll do it in the form of a lie. I told a lie for many years. I told it so much because I wanted to hurt somebody else that I started to believe it. And that was so hard to get past. That was so hard to take that mask off and become transparent and go to this person and make amends, because it was painful and I regretted that I carried it for so long. So sometimes it can come out as unwarranted anger. Sometimes for me it was grief, anxiety, fear. And it does, in a big way, all these masks jeopardize our sobriety. Okay? So through transparency, our freedom, we can get freedom from our masks, right? Yes, it may cost us. We may lose friends. We may gain other friends. We may get enemies instead. But being true to who we are and being transparent is a price that is worth it, at least from my perspective. If I lose a friend because I'm transparent, was it really a true friend? Did I need this person in my life? If I lose my job because I was transparent, open, honest, talking about this and being who I am, maybe I didn't need that job. Maybe I really needed another job. And if I lose my edge, wouldn't my real self be better off having my edge around than wearing this mask and being frustrated? So I've heard and said this saying for so long, it's embedded. I always tell the truth. It's harder to remember the lies. I'll come back to the one quote that was in the concept to contemplate, because it was important to me to say this one more time. Transparency is removing the masks and revealing who we are. It is getting beyond the surface to what is really going on in your heart. Let's pray. Thank you, higher power, for this time together. Thank you for the words that were said and the words that were heard. Help us to remember to set down our masks and be our true selves in our life, in our sobriety, in our relationships, in everything we do, so that we can become our full potential in your divine mind, and our wings can come through the cocoon and we can fly. Amen.
As we go into this season of thankfulness and gratitude, let us be extremely transparent. Let us know and embrace the light shining through. Taking a deep breath. Exhale. Relax. Center yourself on the inner love and connection we all have with each other and with our higher power. Thankfulness is acknowledging that something or someone has done something nice. Someone holds the door for you so that you can walk through. We automatically say, thank you. Gratefulness is about us appreciating. It's more emotional. Appreciating that person who held the door open. We are thankful that they held the door open. We are grateful that they stepped forward to share their love for us. Take in another deep breath. Breathe in the gratefulness around us. Breathe in the thankfulness around us. Breathe out love, peace, joy. This is the opportunity for us to be completely transparent. The wounds are there, but the light shines through. Acknowledge those wounds. Acknowledge the light. We are grateful for those wounds. Those wounds have brought us to where we are today. A loving, energizing, all-accepting life form. We are so grateful for this opportunity to share this emotion, to acknowledge our love, to acknowledge that we are love, loved, and loving. Take in another deep breath. Feel the energy. Feel the warmth growing within. Feel it expanding. We are sharing this love, this gratefulness, this thankfulness with all around. We're not holding back. We are being completely honest, open, and transparent. And we so enjoy this feeling. It centers us. Take in another breath. Breathe out joy, energy, peace, and love. Be thankful for all that we have, for everyone passing through our lives. Be grateful for the impact that they have made on our lives, because we are who we are today because of the connections we have had through our entire life. Be blessed. Be happy. Enjoy the feelings of this season. You are loved. You are thankful. You are blessed. And we are extremely grateful.
Thank you for joining us, and let's stay connected and grow in spirit. We are on Facebook. Search for Unity Church of El Cajon and follow us and like our posts. You can reach us on YouTube at Unity Church of El Cajon. Please subscribe to our channel, watch our videos, and leave comments which can help us improve. We are on the web at unityofelcajon.org. Email or call our church office to receive our weekly newsletters, which lists all of our activities and opportunities to learn and grow together.